When you search online for builds in Borderlands 3, you get a whole array of different options. This character is good for mobbing, this character is perfect for bossing, and with this specific build with these specific weapons and this specific shield with these specific anoints, you'll be able to look at an enemy and they'll just die. But you know, some of these can be pretty annoying. Maybe you don't want to farm that perfect gear with the perfect anointments that complement and amplify your damage a quintillion%. You see, I wanted to combine two things that I really like, a funny gimmick and a loyalty challenge. So that's where this build comes in. You see, we're not going to be farming for just any weapon that's useful and can kill things. That'd be too easy. Instead, we'll be staying loyal, not loyal to Jacobs or Hyperion or Vladov or any manufacturer, but probably the most important person, MOXXI. Throughout my playthroughs, I'd noticed how much gear MOXXI seems to have in this game. Guns, grenades, shields, you name it, she has it, except for class mods. So how good can you make a character using only MOXXI dedicated gear? So if there's one thing we need to make sure this build accomplishes, is it needs to reflect MOXXI, what we do, how it treats the enemies, and how we speak. So for this build, we are going to be using Amara, and we will promptly be renaming her action skill from Phase Grasp to Phase Gasm. We will be using ties that bind because the more bodies you can get involved in this grasping orgy, the better the experience. We also need to make sure the enemies die almost immediately upon being grasped because very few people can actually last more than a few seconds after feeling the touch of MOXXI. When it comes to the augments, we will be using Revelation and whatever other element you want, it doesn't really matter. I often use fire because that burning sensation is completely normal. For the rest of the skill tree, it's looking like this. I don't have to explain it to you, it's kinda like childbirth. You don't need to know how it works for it to work. It just does. The birds and the bees, more like the skills in the trees. But alright, if you need to know the main punch of this bad boy, they are the action skill damage and the do harm skill for stacks of rush. If you know what I'm saying, you get it. Everyone else, you'll get it when you're older. Now, it's not a fun time without a few toys that rumble. MOXXI has a total of 6 guns, 1 shield, 1 artifact, and 1 grenade. In the base game, you can get a total of 6 out of the 9 possible pieces of gear. 2 of them can be obtained quite easily. By giving her a generous big tip, you can get 2 very easy guns. The crit is a Maliwan SMG. It does 150% critical damage, however it's slippery when wet, meaning your grip isn't as firm as you think it is, and you have occasion to drop it when you reload. So if multitasking isn't your strong suit, this gun is better left on the bedside. Her other reward is the Hail Assault Rifle, and this gun sucks, and not in the way that you'd want. It shoots in a parabolic trajectory, meaning it's a pain in MOXXI's fine ass to shoot. Arguably, her most useful and not centered around some annoying shtick is the Vibra Pulse. What? I have nothing to showcase to you? Yes, because this gun is apparently obtained by completing MOXXI's Crimson Radio Towers around the game, and it's meant to be a reward you get by the end. But after doing it 4 times, yes, 4 times, that is a total of 84 towers I tracked down trying to get this reward and never got. Fuck me. So let that be a lesson to everyone. No matter how much time and effort you put into something, you are never guaranteed a reward. So let's just throw that gun out the window because there's no chance I'm doing it again. Now, it's important to note that all of MOXXI's gear centers around healing. Damage you do gets returned back to you for a certain percent. So now what? You got a few guns, but you're feeling a bit chilly. You don't have any protection on you. You need that sweet embrace of MOXXI's shield. You get this as a mission reward pretty early into the game after the mission Sanctuary when you board Sanctuary. This works best with other players since it gives you the ability to heal Gasm all over them on shield break. Also, you regen 5% of max HP while shield is full. Useless or artifact, we're rocking MOXXI's endowment. Special effect, bonus XP. God damn it. But on the upside, she's got a nice pair she keeps close to the chest. No, not those. Well, actually, yes, those, but I'm talking about her bouncing pair grenade mod. Then you won't get in trouble for watching them bounce up and down and up and down and up and down and... Now you might be thinking, what do we do about the class mod? MOXXI doesn't actually have a class mod, and thank the gods who sculpted her in the first place because something has to be useful in this build. Initially, I wanted to use the spiritual driver and run around the map as fast as possible because if there's one thing you can associate with most people and MOXXI, it's fast. But that's not too useful and we can't kill anything with that. Instead, we're opting in for the Phase Zerker. What I was saying earlier with the skill tree, this is what allows that to actually do damage. You see, when you fake grasp the ground, you can build up stacks of rush, and so once it's maxed out, the next time you grab someone, it'll be over before the fun even began. And last but not least, a build is not finished without the correct aesthetic. The skin we'll be using is the Art of Stealth skin, obtained after collecting all 22 radio towers in the game per MOXXI's request. And just mwah, look at how beautiful it complements Amara, the tiger of Partali, bearing her stripes. And you know what else is a big cat like a tiger? A cougar. Exactly like MOXXI. The skin is So that does it for the gear you can get in the base game. So now that we've gotten a few guns, let's see how it works. God damn it, nothing's dying. But you know, the build works best when you can amplify your damage, and the only way to do that in this game is through anointments. More specifically, the 300% damage to enemies over 90% health. If we can get that, then their pain will equal our pleasure. Since the hail and the crit are probably the easiest guns to farm, since it's only money, bam, like that we've got a new weapon, amplifying our damage to insane heights. Alright, take two. Fuck me. So it turns out the reason the damage isn't through the roof is because the damage that gets amplified is based on the damage the weapon does. And since the hail is the stronger of the two weapons and only averages out at around 5,000 damage, that's pretty small and the enemies can barely feel anything. So instead we're gonna need something big, girthy, full of cream and hurts when you stick it in. That's right, the Creamer rocket launcher. The rocket does about 10 times the amount of damage than any of the other guns at around 40 to 50,000 damage. So go ahead and farm Junpei at the Spendopticon for about an hour to get the gun. And then continue farming him for another 9 hours to get the 390 anoint. And
now that's a lot of damage!
Finally, some progress. As for the other MOXXI guns in the DLC, like the Slow Hand and the Heartbreaker, be sure to pick up those to prove you're actually faithful to MOXXI, and then throw them in your inventory wherever you want, because on Mayhem 10 these guns are not useful and we're only holding the Creamer. Now Eruptionfang, I hear you saying, this works beautifully on large clusters of enemies, but what about bosses? Hell, this hardly seems to work when you have one single enemy with no one to attach them to. Well, this is where the harsh reality kicks in and you realize that you've been playing out of your league for far too long. While MOXXI is a 10, you are not. You're more of a 4. So go ahead and drop the Mayhem down to level 4 and voila, you are officially playing in the league you belonged in this entire time. Sure, you might have a little success punching up a few ranks, but considering it was a miracle you got there in the first place, just be happy you're associated with MOXXI in any capacity. So now that you're running around on Mayhem 4, this is the perfect build. But if you insist on playing on Mayhem 10, then you can just do what everyone does when they've been tied down. Lie to yourself. Since MOXXI's weapons are not viable on Mayhem 10, what you can do instead is just take the hot-blooded skin you get from the radio towers and equip them on your gun. Then any gun becomes a MOXXI gun. And just like that, you're still faithful to MOXXI. Phasegasm build is a success. So there you have it, my MOXXI loyal Amara build. Honestly, it's a shame that her guns aren't all that useful, and even less so when they're all bunched together. You'd think that they'd all naturally complement one another and make you some natural build, but I guess not. But with that said, thank you all for watching this video. If you're a simp for MOXXI, then be sure to give it a like and comment your thoughts below. And I'll see you in the next one, sugar.